the war on cops is that far too many liberal mayors are falling in line. They are handcuffing the officers' ability to do anything that in turn has crime skyrocketing across the country. In Chicago over the weekend, 54 people were shot and killed. 12 of them were killed. That includes an 86-year-old man. And in New York last night, cops were ambushed responding to a domestic abuse call, fired at multiple times before the suspect gave himself up. A suspect who turns out to be a gang member with a long history of violence against police. With crime in the Big Apple exploding, the legendary Guardian Angels are now stepping up their patrols to fill the void of an overworked and underappreciated police force. Please welcome the founder of the Guardian Angels and candidate for New York City mayor in 2021, Curtis Sliwa. Curtis, it's good to see you. Welcome to the program.
Well, it's time. It's time for all Americans to step up. And I remember patrolling the streets of Compton and South Central when, remember, straight out of Compton, NWA, Dr. Dre, Ice Cube was saying, F the police. That's a second generation now that has been inculcated with the idea of F the police, and in this case, an attempted assassination. Let's hope for the best interest of those police officers that they somehow survive this ordeal. I know what they're going through. I was shot 5 times with hollow point bullets, and it's always touch and go.
You know, Curtis, you and I have been talking about these issues for literally years now. And I remember, as I told you once before, as a young man in New York City, when crime was out of control, I always appreciated the fact when a guardian angel got on the subway train with me. That was at a time when New York City crime was out of control. We had gotten New York City back to a point where no one was really afraid anymore. Of course, you had to be careful, but no one was afraid. All of those gains have been squandered. We're now at a point once again where, you know, God bless you and the Guardian Angels, but you are needed now more than ever.
Oh, yeah, both here in New York City, our home base. We're in 13 countries, 130 cities, and I can't tell you the requests that we're getting, especially the cities under siege, Minneapolis, Madison, Wisconsin, Kenosha, Oakland. I mean, I can go right on down the list, small, mid-sized, large, and even in suburban areas where they feel that the police have been made so impotent that they can't respond. So, look, Lancaster, Pennsylvania, the other night, you know, we typically think of that as the home of the Amish. It's really not. There's an Amish community, and then there's the regular community. You had a crazed guy who just a year before had slashed 4 people. He's emotionally disturbed. His sister calls 911 because he's threatening his mother with a knife. The police officer from Lancaster by himself comes to the door, and immediately the guy tries to stab him. He's chasing him down the block. The cop doesn't want to shoot him, but then has to shoot him dead. And what does the crowd in little Lancaster, Pennsylvania do? They do what they've seen done on TV. They storm the police station, they bust out windows, they vandalize police cars, and they threaten to burn the police precinct down. This young man was in need of help a long time ago. You can't blame the police. You have to blame the officials who clearly were put on warning and never put him in a psychiatric hospital. They have that problem in California, Pennsylvania, New York, all across the country, releasing people with severe mental disorders to be out in the streets, to bother their own families and become a menace to society. You can't blame the cops for that. You got to blame the politicians.
Absolutely. And then when it comes to the crime, who you really need to blame are the actual criminals and the thugs out there. And yet the Democrats and liberals want to make excuses constantly for those people. This is what President Trump said about cop killers and potential cop killers. Listen.
So Biden wants to appease domestic terrorists, and my plan is to arrest domestic terrorists. Okay? And we also believe that if you murder a police officer, you should receive the death penalty.
Well, luckily, we may not have to worry about with these 2 officers, but I'm shocked that they're not dead. It is absolutely a double miracle that they're alive. But the president, in my opinion, is correct on this. Somehow we've got to be putting these thugs, thieves, and arsonists and criminals on notice, Curtis.
Well, you know, it's so interesting, city after city that have these no bail provisions by district attorneys who have been elected, who really want to turn them loose. They basically have earned the nicknames turn 'em loose. And when the criminals are brought in front of the judge, committing serious crimes, armed robbery, armed assault, and the judge says, sir, your court date is October. And they say, you mean I'm not being remanded to jail? Yeah. The judge says, my hands are tied. I'd have put you in jail until your trial, but you're free to go. Just make sure you come back for your court case. And naturally, if that were you, you would look at it like you just hit Lotto and Powerball. So we're empowering criminals, and more importantly, with lockdowns and so many young people not in school, the gangs are having a field day in recruiting young men to go out there and shoot people in order to earn their street stripes and become hardcore Bloods, Crips, MS-13, 18th Street gangbangers.
And that's my biggest fear. Through all of this, you know that these youngsters are being recruited. They were being recruited before, but now with nothing else to do, with school basically out of service, this is exactly what we're seeing on the streets, really across America. Curtis Sliwa, good luck to you and the Guardian Angels. And I appreciate your insight on this. You've been working the streets a long time, and I think America needs to wake up to what's going on out there. Thank you, Curtis.
Well, we'll keep thumping those thugs for America.
Absolutely, and we'll be right there behind you, backing you up, that's for sure.
Newsmax TV is now America's fastest growing cable news channel. We give you the real news you need. So subscribe to our YouTube channel and give us a thumbs up. If you like this video, share it with your friends. Newsmax TV streams live on YouTube for free. Newsmax TV, real news for real people.